So we've talked about a number of aspects of positioning statements and what sort of information to gather to get ready to do this. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about the nuts and bolts of actually creating a positioning statement. This is a skill that many marketers don't have, but the best marketers understand positioning statements and how to create those positioning statements. Once again, your position refers to the consumer's perception of your brand relative to the competition. And it's important to understand it's relative to the competition. What separates us from the competition? It's what customers think of when your brand name is mentioned. So when I say Kentucky Fried Chicken, for instance, the question then is, what do customers think of? What is it that Kentucky Fried Chicken has done to create this position that they have in the mind of the consumer? And then, of course, third, it's all about why customers buy your product. The basic positioning concept is trying to answer the question, why will people or why should people buy our product? All right, so positioning a brand is built with the purpose of making a business more memorable, but also positioning it in the consumer's mind that gives us some sort of an advantage over the competition in terms of customers preferring our brand to other brands. So the first step in positioning is to do an internal analysis of the existing brand to understand what has been done in the past and how the brand is currently viewed by customers and what efforts have been made to establish a position. If it's a brand new brand, of course, then we really want to just review the brand, the product or brand plan, and see how we intend for it to actually be positioned relative to the competition. All right, so position can only occur when there's been a decisive action to take a position in the marketplace. And so we need to make sure we understand where we currently are in terms of the brand. All right, so just a little bit more on the brand audit. To conduct an extensive brand audit to analyze that brand includes the following. Make sure you understand who the target audience is, the differentiation strategy that we have in mind, and maybe you might even go back to the generic competitive strategies to try to identify that. You need to understand the brand's personality, the other key messages and stories that are tied to the brand, the current brand name and tagline, if it has one, and then the visual identity of the brand, that is all the trade dress and all the branding efforts that have already been made. You want to identify any misalignment and divergent activities throughout the brand that make the specific position of the brand um, less focused. So we want to make sure that we are focused on one idea, one concept, and that all of these items up and down this list are exactly aligned with that idea. We also, of course, need to do a company audit. All right. And, when we do a company audit, we want to think about the strengths and weaknesses and the assets, capabilities, and competencies, because there are instances when companies want to position a product in a specific way, but they really don't have the assets, capabilities, or competencies to do that, and it really works against their strengths and weaknesses. And so we really want to make sure that the company fits the positioning and the positioning fits the company. Next, we need to do a customer audit. Before defining a new position or a position in the marketplace, it's critically important to define who our target market is and our current customers. And so although it may be a positioning, a positioning might be some sort of a little bit of a repositioning, might simply aim to change the perception of the same group of people. We always want to make sure that we understand who the customers are and what is important to them, because that's where we need to look for our unique selling proposition. We also need to do a competition audit. We need to focus on the competition and um, and defining who our competitors are and their positions in the marketplace is critical. And that's because new competitors are constantly entering the market and existing competitors are evolving into new positions. So we need to understand where everybody else is in terms of their positions. And then when we define a new position or decide on how we're going to position our product, we need then to think about these competitors' positions that are already exist in the marketplace to make sure that our positioning strategy offers a compelling reason for the audience to choose our brand. One of the benefits of letting everybody else pick a position is then we at least know where they all stand. The disadvantage, of course, is that it reduces the number of alternatives that are available. We then need to identify gaps. That is, we need to identify where there are holes in the positioning map in terms of where customers are positioned and where competition is positioned and where customers have wants and needs that are not yet met. And so we want to, focus on identifying a single point of difference that creates value for our potential customers. It's all about the unique selling proposition and the value propositions, but it has to be relative to the competition. That is, it has to be something that separates us from the competition in a way that creates value. So, how do you craft a good positioning statement? Well, a statement has to answer 4 questions related to target markets, benefits sought, brand differences that create value, and proof as to how the product is factually different to support that difference that we claim we have. So I always recommend that we start with a positioning template. I didn't used to believe in this, but I do think that this helps us get started. Okay, and so here I have an example of 2 positioning templates that are in reality end up in sort of in the same spot, but some people prefer the one that we're using in example 1. Others might use the one in example 2. You might feel more comfortable in somehow combining these into something a little bit different. But once again, we just talked about the 4 aspects. Well, make sure that we have the 4 aspects covered in the positioning statement template. And here's a sample of how we might use this. All right, so we have the first template for target customers that the audience need. You need to identify the audience, a need, and then the name of your product. Define the product category. That benefits does your product provide? Unlike the competition, our product, and what is it that makes our product unique from them and adds value? So I have an example here for Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I'll fill in this template. For hungry customers that want the best tasting chicken at affordable prices, KFC is the quick serve chicken restaurant. Now, notice how specific I have made that submarket. All right. So for hungry customers that want the best tasting chicken at affordable prices, KFC is the quick serve restaurant that provides finger licking good chicken and all the side dishes. Unlike other quick serve chicken restaurants, our food is prepared using our unique blend of 11 herbs and spices that makes it taste better than any other fast food chicken. Now, notice that what I have done here by filling in this little template is I have identified our point of difference, and I have even provided evidence as to why it is that we are different in a factual manner. So this is one example. If we were to use the other template and we were doing the same thing for Kentucky Fried Chicken, it would look almost the same when we got done, but it would look more like this. For hungry customers, KFC is a quick serve chicken restaurant that prepares its chicken using their unique blend of 11 herbs and spices, resulting in chicken that tastes better than any other fast food chicken. All right, same kind of a notion here, but and some people prefer the first template, others prefer the second template. But the idea behind using a template is that it allows us to focus on identifying the key aspects of the positioning statement. So once I have finished this template, I have a draft statement, but it needs to be refined and edited and maybe cleaned up. So just because I have filled out the template, I'm not really done. I then need to go back in and do a little wordsmithing. I might need to think about how the best way it is to present this to my employees so that my employees understand what it is that separates us from everyone else, and then make sure that all of our marketing efforts in terms of product, price, place, and promotion align with that positioning statement. In summary, it takes time and effort to get good at this, at developing positioning statements, but you do need to develop the skill. And the fact of the matter is, you need to practice at it to make that happen. It's easy to watch somebody else do it and say, oh, yeah, I get it. Well, but then when you go to do it, it turns out that it might be more difficult. This is another example of one of those situations because it's a skill development. It's one of those situations that you learn by doing.